climate change.
Some of it's still very,
Yes.
relevant. And I'm like watching those things and I'm like, oh, it is so relevant.
It is.
Parts of it were very old, but other parts are very relevant. And some things are still just hilarious. Like the pilot scenes for me with Michael Palin are hilarious. They're my favourite parts of this film. The way Michael Palin delivers these scenes, which we just heard.
Yes. Oh, look,
are still funny.
He's just a classically funny person. They all are in their own right.
Some of the scenes have aged terribly though, but other scenes are still very funny.
Well, that is a very crisp scene even by today's
That's
standards.
what I mean. Some of it is still funny.
Yes.
Some of it's not and has aged terribly, but other scenes are hilarious.
The thing you had with Stephen Fry that you sent me during the week, I was going to use that as...
Oh, yes, I remember.
Yes.
Or he's talking about American comedy versus British comedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, what I might do today, after the credits have rolled at the end of this, I'll tack on a little interview Stephen Fry did on, I don't think it was a TED Talk, but it was something like that.
I can't remember what it was.
He discusses the difference between English comedy and American comedy. And... it
was so interesting. I'd never thought about it in that way.
Yeah, and look, it's terrific. And so I might just pop that on at the very end. So don't just immediately switch off when we get to the end here. Just hang on, and I'll stick that on the end. And I just think people will really enjoy listening to it.
You mean after us talking about a British
after the show is
comedy
over.
film?
Yeah, I'll just stick it on at the end.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting thing. And I was listening to it going, oh, I should tag Paul.
Yes, no, it was good. I have actually seen it before.
I hadn't seen it.
Yes.
But then I'm not... going around Facebook and Twitter.
You
don't
go down the rabbit holes like
no, I
don't. Although you're starting to.
Oh, not hardcore like you. You go. You're like Alison.
Well, I don't go onto the dark net or anything
You get right down to the bottom and you're going, should I have this piece of cake that says "eat me" or not? But that's what I mean. This film, a lot of people who really like Monty Python watch it, but I think people who haven't seen it, it won't be a favourite film, but there'll be scenes that they appreciate and giggle at.
Oh, look, I think people who've never seen anything with Monty Python...
And I don't think it's banned any longer in Ireland. It's no longer banned.
It's been banned for years,
I know,
decades.
But don't quote me, but I don't think it's banned any longer.
Yep. So, look, if you are of a religious persuasion, you might... Well, and you've not seen it or heard of it, look, by today's standards of blasphemy, I think it's pretty mild.
I think it's very mild. I'm thinking, where are they actually making... They're basically making fun of how people perceive what the Messiah says, but I don't see how that's making fun of their religion.
We have, in some respects, we have moved on a great deal. Like, we have progressed...
I thought it was very petty what they were picking at.
But this is why there is such a massive swing now. We've had 4 decades of progressive thought about religion, coming forward, and the world becoming more secular. And I don't know if this is the last gasp of Christianity, or, you know what I mean? Like, for every action there is an opposite and equal reaction. So if you go more progressive, people who are Christian start to feel under attack, and this is what they're kind of talking about. They think they're being persecuted.
They dig their feet in.
That's right, just because they can no longer burn people who disagree with them. That's persecution, you know, and that is, it may sound a bit extreme, but that is the long and the short of it. They have had cultural superiority over the rest of our civilization for 2 millennia. 2 millennia, you know, and now people who are atheists or, you know, Muslims might come into the country, or other people who do not necessarily
There's so many
agree
different
with them.
religions and things.
That's right, that they feel that they're under siege now, and I just think that's indicative of where we're at. So if you're feeling a bit under siege, go watch Life of Brian. It might just cheer you up a little bit about religion.
Oh, well, there's a couple of little aspects in it
It
that are quite
very
humorous.
gentle fun at it.
It's very gentle.
It's very gentle.
It's not hardcore.
No.
I mean, there's some swearing and I think John
frontal
Cleese...
nudity?
Oh, yes, frontal nudity. I forgot about that.
Yes.
And I think John Cleese has too much fun belting Graham Chapman around. Do you notice he doesn't even hold back?
No,
I mean,
they are...
Gosh, that looked real.
They are not theatrical slaps.
No.
I think there's a lot of pent-up aggression.
The hat went flying. I could see him. Awesome.
Yeah, he wasn't happy after the end of that scene, apparently.
I imagine he wouldn't have been. I don't think Michael Palin was either, because everyone just kept bursting into laughter, and he was having trouble actually delivering his lines.
Getting the lines out, yes. But that was because he's doing such a good job. Okay, well...
So how many stars will you give it, Paul?
Look, I think it is a bit dated.
There are sections that are very
yes,
dated.
There are sections like, as I said, the spaceship scene. That just
some of the jokes are still a little bit old. Some of them are great. Some of them are a little old.
Most hold up, which is surprising for an old comedy. But it's about something that's very, very old, religion. So it helps it stay a little timeless.
No, the fact that it was banned, though, to me, I was, before I'd seen it back in the day, I expected it to be a bit more,
right,
hardcore against religion. But no, it's very easy.
I realised I was talking off into the distance and nobody could hear me. So, sorry, people.
Leaning back in your chair thinking.
Well, I was a bit. Look, I think this film is probably a 7. A straight 7. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. I think when it came out, it changed the way a lot of people viewed religion, and it gave a green light for people to say their own thing. I thought it was extraordinarily brave at the time, and I was alive at the time and young and conscious, and I was deep in... Yeah, I know. But like I was deeply immersed in the whole Catholicism thing at the time, like I didn't really have it. And it was the first time I saw something that was outwardly atheistic in its approach, and I took to it like a duck to water. So I've got a fair bit of to owe to this film, I think, without even realising it. Now that I think about it, I think that it did have quite an effect on me at the time. So I give it a 7, and that's why it doesn't get a 6.
Do you know what? I'm going to break my rule. I'm going to go 6.5. Only because some of it hasn't aged well, but other bits of it are hilarious, but it's not like a complete full thing.
Having that half, it's nice to have that extra gradient of definition.
Well, it's not as bad as some 6,
it's
but it's not as good as a 7.
That's right.
Oh, sometimes it feels like even now I feel bad doing it.
You don't have to feel bad about it.
I will, and when I listen back to this, I'll go, oh, Pip.
Using the half.
Pip conforming to the half.
Do you know what that indicates?
That I break and I don't stick with my ruling, and that's awful.
I've been hammering away on your rules anyway. What it indicates is that you're becoming more precise in how you're viewing things. The extra gradient is just an indication of your mental precision. Do you like that? So think of it like that.
No, I don't agree with that.
Well,
but
that's
anyway,
fine.
I think you're being far too nice.
I'll let you think about that.
Anyway, so that's 7 stars from Paul and 6.5 stars from me for Monty Python's Life of Brian.
Still a thoroughly enjoyable film. Don't let the lower scores
I think people will get a good chuckle out of it. It's good to have a good chuckle film after a Gallipoli film.
Yes, though you would still enjoy Gallipoli.
Yes, you'd enjoy both films, but one will be a tearjerker and the other will make you giggle.
Which gives you a sharp slap in the face right at the end.
Yeah, right at the end, the very last scene.
Okay, so... Yep, terrific. Okay, what do we got for next week? Yep.
So next week, you, Paul, have put up Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Which is an animated film.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, that'll be interesting. I haven't seen it yet.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay. And I've put up The Wolf of Wall Street because...
Every time I say that, it almost damns the film that I say. I think you'll enjoy it. 3, 2...
Have I given something a 2? I don't think I have.
Yes, you have.
What was it?
Roma is fucked.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm putting up...
I think that's the official title of it.
I'm putting up The Wolf of Wall Street because I haven't seen it.
Neither have I.
It's just on my list of things. So I'm just going through my list of things I should watch.
It's also on my list of things, like scenes. I might use the scene as next week's movie magical moment, because that is, and you can probably write that down just in case I forget.
Well, we won't forget because we're watching it.
Yeah, I know, but I'll forget to do it as the thing.
Oh, okay.
Because it's apparently there's a big scene,
dialogue scene.
That where
don't tell me that I haven't seen the film.
No, well, I don't know anything about it.
Oh, you haven't seen the film either?
I've just seen like 30 seconds of the scene.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he's just running around. I've come to like him more and more as I've got older.
Who's that?
DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, I didn't... It put a bad taste in my mouth. I refuse to watch Titanic.
You haven't seen Titanic?
I will not watch Titanic. It is a vow. There's no point in putting it up as a movie. I will not watch it.
Paul.
No, I'm sorry. I will not watch it.
Paul, you can't not watch something.
I will not watch it.
You've got to watch something and then go, it's crap or it's good or whatever.
I'm not going to be king of the world.
It's one scene.
I don't care.
One little scene.
Don't care.
My mum and my grandmother took my sister and my brother and I to see it when it came out.
Yep.
And there is one scene that I always remember makes me laugh where she sticks her finger up at the guys who are trying to catch her. And my little brother laughed his head off for ages and made everyone in the whole cinema laugh their heads off because he was just laughing like a lunatic.
So you say it's a good film?
It's an all right film. It's not one I go, you must see, but it's not one where I go, that's crap. It's not Roma.
All right, well, there you go. We've done our review for Titanic. There you go. Now we don't have to do it.
You know
see what I did there?
I can just see for our 50th episode where you go, I'm going to put up something you hate, and I'll go, I see your crap, and I raise you on Titanic.
I don't think you understand. I refuse to watch it.
If we have to review it, you'll have to watch it.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. You can no. There's no point looking evil over there.
Anyway,
over my dead body.
Oh, that can be arranged. So that was Gallipoli and Monty Python's Life of Brian, and next week Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and The Wolf of Wall Street.
Awesome.
Good times.
Okay, Pip. We'll sign off, and don't forget, stay on board, and I'll add that little.
Yay, because that's a good one.
It is. It's a bit of fun listening to it. It's interesting stuff.
Cool bananas.
We sometimes find some little nuggets. We might do that from now on. We might
rather than magic movie moments put up. That one you did with Emma Thompson that you put up. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I want more of that, please.
More of that. Well, I can add them on.
Am I allowed to place orders, or is only people listening?
No, look, we're not sticking to any huge format here. You do, but I'd like to mix it up. Anyway, goodbye from me.
Oh, and bye from me.
Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.
We have time for one more question, which will come from the gentleman there.
You talk about the sense of humour, the American sense of humour, and we haven't really you haven't mentioned so much the British sense of humour, but do you think they differ hugely? And if so, what accounts for that difference?
It's a really good point. I think, it strikes at the heart of what is American optimism is a really important thing, but not only optimism, but a refusal to see oneself in a bad light, or, one could talk about this for far too long, but if you go to an American bookshop, by far the biggest section is self-help and improvement. The idea that life is refinable and improvable, and that you can learn a technique for anything, whether it's lovemaking, being a businessman, a marriage, cooking, losing weight, whatever it is, there's an NLP way of doing it, there's an Anthony Robbins way of doing it, there's a things they didn't teach you at Harvard way of doing it. There's an unbelievable sense that life is improvable, that you can be lectured at, or indeed given a sermon at. It's the Protestant base of America, that things are done by text and by works, as opposed to by submission and by a doctrine in the way that the higher church, European rump, we still believe. And there is a sense of original sin in Europe. I mean, this is a bizarre theory that I won't push to its limit, but when it comes to comedy, it's satisfactorily, I think, obvious that the American comic hero is a wisecracker who is above his material and who is above the idiots around him. And the British comic, put it this way, the American comic hero, like John Belushi or someone like that, is that scene in Animal House where there's a fellow playing folk music on a guitar, and John Belushi picks up the guitar and destroys it. And the cinema laughed because he just smashes it and then waggles his eyebrows at the camera. Everyone says, God, he's so great. Well, a British comedian would want to play the folk singer. We want to play the failure. All the great British comic heroes are people who want life to be better and on whom life craps from a terrible height, and whose sense of dignity is constantly compromised by the world letting them down. They want to wear a tie. They're not quite smart enough to wear an old school tie because they're kind of lower middle class. They are Arthur Lowe in Dad's Army. They are Anthony Aloysius Hancock. They are Basil Fawlty. They are Del Boy. They are Blackadder. They're not quite the upper echelons, and they try to be decent and right. Everything tries to be proper. They're even David Brent from The Office. And